Hey guys, so I am sorry I haven't had a lot of game content out here. Maybe this next topic will suffice because it has been summer streaming season. The summer movie season is gone. Streaming series, it's one after another. The terminal list I still have to get to. We did Stranger Things, The Boys. Now we have Resident Evil on Netflix. The first episode of this, I'm thinking, is this possibly the worst video game adaptation ever? Maybe the worst thing I've ever seen. Where's Resident Evil in here? We're starting out in London with a British actress who is doing an American accent. And it's sometime in the future, sometime after the end of the world. Okay, I guess that we're going to have some zombies here. She's studying the zombies. They key in on blood now. But there is some logic there. Their seeing goes, their hearing goes. Do you ever lose your sense of smell? What about your sense of taste? This isn't the worst idea. But then there's a giant caterpillar attack, and we also get this girl talking to, I guess, her husband and her kid. And it's one thing to have a British actress running around London sounding American, but she looks 20. She looks like a WNBA rookie, and she has a 12-year-old daughter. Do the math. But none of that really seems to matter because she's going to get concussion. And this character, Jade, if there's one thing she does well, it is get knocked out. I am actually only halfway through the season. She's been just concussed like every episode. It's astonishing. Now we have to go back in time to New Raccoon City in South Africa. My eyes are rolling through my head at this point. We're introduced to Jade, her sister Billy, and her dad, Albert Wesker, I shit you not. And he's an umbrella employee living in this New Raccoon City, and we have turned into Resident Evil High School. We have gone from zombies in the future, some of the big giant caterpillar, she kind of gets rescued by people too. We have a Netflix series, so we have to deal with kid drama in high school. Because Stranger Things is such a hit, that's the way this shit goes. And is there some edict sit down from the top at Netflix that says every episode of every show has to end with some moody song to appeal to teenage girls? Because this checks that box as well. Now, a lot of you are probably thinking, I'm pissed that instead of looking like Iceman from Top Gun, we have Albert Wesker, now a bald black guy. That shouldn't even be the lead concern here. There's just so much to complain about, you end up forgetting some of the minutia here. I mean, we've got kids all wearing light pastels in this high school, looking like they're actually in prison. Billy, I would think of her as younger sister, but she's not. She's over here getting bullied and shit. I guess Jade retaliates, but then Daddy Wesker has to come in, and he's so calm and civil. He has the password Spock21. Why the 21? I don't know. For everything. So you unlock your Netflix with this, and you also use this to get into Umbrella and get access their computer. Yeah, smart guy. The daughter gets bullied, and they get brought in for like a sort of parent-teacher conference type thing to address this. And he's like, so what do you do? Oh, you're a server administrator? Yeah. 10,000 people can do your job. Only one person can do my job at Umbrella. What if I give a call and say, I want you gone. I want you blacklisted. I don't want you working for Apple or Google. Wesker, I know you're bald and black, but you're not Michael Jordan. Okay? You're just as replaceable and shit. Like, Jesus Christ. The biggest issue with this first episode is the Albert Wesker thing. Because it's like, what if you're watching Apollo 13 and you said, okay, Jim Lovell, his character is now going to be RoboCop. Does that make any sense? We have a guy who is built up as this scientist. He has two daughters. There's some circumstance behind their birth. Maybe we'll get to that, whatever. Not that it really matters, because the Wesker we know from the games was not this guy. Maybe you could have told me this was William Birkin, and I would have bought into it better. Because William Birkin, scientist, experiments on daughter. Okay, there we go. Experiments on him, his wife, whatever. I could see that kind of connection, but mercenary cop turned into scientist over here. What Why even bring up the Albert Wesker name? That just doesn't make sense. And his name Lance Redick. I think he's doing fine for the material of which he's given. If it weren't for the name associated with him, you wouldn't think he was playing Albert Wesker. That I kid you not, absolutely. The girls break into the facility because we're going to have an angle here where essentially vegan animal protesters bring on the zombie apocalypse. Yeah, Billy doesn't like the animals being tested on. She tries to free them, finds a zombie dog. You know, they say that the T-virus, when it jumps interspecies, it makes things giant. Giant spiders, giant caterpillar. How come Dobermans never get bigger? I guess I never really understood the differentiating between the T-virus and the G-virus. We're only mentioning the T-virus here. There is... the girl gets bit, but we never see it. And then when they look at the wound in the next episode, it's there. I actually think that these girls playing the high school sisters actually are doing a pretty good job of evoking this sisterly bond. I know when they're hiding from the Doberman, they like hold hands real quick. That little termite art moment kind of stuck with me. But there is a reason, guys, why we are jumping from high school to 10 years later, whichever, sometime after, and back and forth. There's a reason for that. Now, a lot of you didn't go and get a bachelor's in film studying under an Oscar winner in your screenplay writing class. But I did. So let me fill you in on some information here. It's a pacing issue. Anytime you jump back and forth, it's because there was a pacing issue. If we had stuck with the high school kids the whole way through, you may not be able to build that list of complaints yet. Things may unravel. Oh, it's a new Raccoon City because in the 1998 we're still honoring that. But how can you pick and choose the elements from the past canon and then say Wesker's different? How does that work out? But we wanted to have zombies in our zombie series quickly instead of half a season in, a full season in, and then switch to new actress playing the older version of the WNBA superstar. That's what this is about. And we switch back and forth to go to where the action is. If that kind of trick keeps working on us, we're always going to end up with these, what the hell's going on? I'm confused. Shows. That it's gotten to be the norm, and I'm thinking Netflix is largely to blame for this. They like to jump around for shit. Goddamn Witcher season 1. You couldn't even tell what time period you're in. At least they replaced the actresses here instead of just having a guy who has white hair 30 years ago, 30 years later. Okay, at least there's some changes. We're brought into this gal Marcus. That's her last name, Elena Marcus. She has said that her dad founded this company, so it's not a Spencer company anymore. Why are we doing this? Oh, and our big bad, she is a lesbian, Latina, with cringe hair that chain links an extension to the back of her head. I saw this as a meme once. Hilarious. And she's over here giving everybody the business, saying they want to introduce this joy pill, get everybody addicted, and then mind control them, a $1 trillion company. Okay, I'm not entirely against this. In the action that we've had, the character development has been better than in the movies. The action's better than the latest movie. The visual effects are way better than the previous Mila Jovovich, Mary Sue movies. This gal Jade, like I said, the best thing she does is get concussed. And there's really nothing to worry about there with her. It's just refreshing that she's not bouncing off the walls, slow-mo shooting everything. The stuff she's doing is fairly sensible, and I'm okay with that. In the future, Jade is being chased by Umbrella. There's another faction, and she's going across Europe, it seems, trying to get back to her family. At some point, she runs into things from the games. There's a big spider, cuts a guy in half. There's a guy with a sack over his head and a chainsaw, but we're not really talking about the Las Plagas stuff. She cuts off the head of some zombie witch-like character. Like, is this Back for Blood or something at this point? Left 4 Dead much? I guess she's going to bring that back to research because it's controlling the zombies. They seem to be exhibiting some different traits. Not that Not that you really need to examine this stuff that much. You more like need to eradicate or try to survive. Oh, all the while we're jumping back to high school, seeing how her sister's slowly becoming zombie-like. That's it. The symptoms on this don't make a lot of sense to me. Like, you have to check back every 72 hours to see if you're a zombie. And she's getting zombie visions, but she hasn't bitten anybody yet. I'm assuming that this guy coming in who was researching what happened in Tijuana, he's going to get bitten or infected. Now he has to do this shit. But if it weren't for vegan daughter going to go check all this stuff out and trying to release the doggy, wouldn't have happened. Was this the big woke Resident Evil series we all feared it would be? Maybe not. I mean, Albert Wesker aside, I like the idea of us doing the live-action Resident Evils without game characters. That way we know anybody's on the chopping block. There was a guy in a suit who was harassing Jade in the apocalyptic days. I thought he was going to live longer than he apparently has. Because by the end of episode 4, it don't look so good for him. But we don't know what could happen to Jade, Billy, or whoever the hell, because they aren't established game characters who have to be alive. Once those Resident Evil movies with Milla Jovovich started introducing Jill, Chris, Leon, we knew they were pretty much safe. And that took away from the drama. In fact, by going back to the past and seeing all this high school shit, you have to be thinking the same thing. Oh, well, nothing bad can happen to Jade, and they're going to mention Billy later, so whatever the hell, some shit. You know, Capcom is actually genius by not giving a shit about their licenses. They just say, hey, Constantine Films. I thought it was Constantine. Maybe I don't see an E there. Yeah, just do whatever the hell you want. I mean, you'll end up rebooting it later, and then eventually somebody might like it. You know, why shoot for good and maintain canon when you can just keep giving the dog water, right? And then eventually you get to, oh, well, but now the rules are different. It's on a streaming series. We don't even have to make money with it. Netflix just pays us straight up. So who cares about the quality? Would this get a second season? It doesn't seem like there's much effort to promote anything on Netflix anymore, really. I saw this trending on Twitter, and as I was starting it, I thought, man, this is the worst thing. And I'm maybe it's, the lowered expectations of the reality of what we've gotten. We don't really hold Netflix's feet to the fire. You could cancel Netflix and just wait for Stranger Things Part 5 to come out. Stranger Things 5 in 3 years, and then you come back. But no, there's no real ramifications here to Netflix giving you bad product. And this isn't even the worst of it. I mean, I started off thinking this is actually, makes the Halo on Paramount look great. Maybe not. Maybe this is actually better than I thought it would be. Just a few issues aside, we might have actually finally had something reasonable for Resident Evil. Try to take place in a different time from the games, with different characters, expand that world. Maybe there's an effort here to do some of this. What do you guys think of Resident Evil on Netflix? Let me know in the comments below.
You just watched a video from my son. He's about 40 and lives in my basement, ladies. So subscriber and notify the bell for ringing. Okay, I said what you wanted me to say. Now do the goddamn dishes.